Hello, friends and neighbors. How are you doing? I wanted to make a couple announcements too, where I'm going to be preaching. This coming Sunday morning, I will be preaching at Ignited Church with Pastor Sammy Reed in Germantown, Ohio. That's this Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And Ignited Church in Germantown, Ohio. And then the July 25th at Liberty Township, again at the Montessori School. They wanted me to do another service there on July 25th. Then August 24th, on a Sunday morning, I'll be kicking off Sammy Reed's revival he's having with me and Tommy Bates and Charlie Lambert and some other people. I don't know. He's going to have a revival, but I'm starting it anyway. So I hope you all get a chance to come and come this Sunday morning. I'll be excited to see all my friends. We'll have a really big time up there. And hey, I wasn't going to say anything about this because everybody's probably making comments about it, but just in talking about Jimmy Swaggart, and he passed away today, and I remember in the 80s being at his church, and this was before everything happened, and seeing just the TV trucks and biggest things I've ever seen, like huge buildings, libraries, the college that probably had 10 or 20 semi trucks, said Jimmy Swaggart Ministries on them, that take stuff everywhere, television cameras. I remember schools in Africa and seeing videos of, in these third world countries, all these little African kids wearing clean uniforms, matching uniforms in a beautiful Christian school, eating top-notch food, getting great education, being taught of the Lord. And on these signs of these buildings saying Jimmy Swaggart Ministries, there's so many great things that he done. And it's sad, the headlines that the secular media put out, and they only mentioned the bad things, but it's sad that I love what our President Trump said. He mentioned all the good things that the man done, and didn't even mention, and that's the difference in the world and people of God and people that have class or are decent. Someone's done so many good things. I'm not saying there's an excuse for sin. And when he fell, it was like a sledgehammer to the gut of the church, because the whole world feared that man at one time and feared his preaching, and they wouldn't listen to it if they weren't living right, because it was heaven and hell. And I would not want to have hell's generals after me the way they were after that man that was getting people saved by the thousands and millions. I'm sure he had to fight Satan's biggest warriors day and night. I wouldn't have wanted to be in his shoes, but I remember I said something. I was about 20 years old when that happened, and we went to church that night, and it was just like everybody was sad. It was like a death in the church world. It was like people are in mourning, and I was just 20 years old or something. I remember getting up at the Blue Church, and I was like, hey, people, this doesn't change the gospel. The gospel that he preached is still true, no matter if he fell or no matter what he done. And, I just think of something that Peggy Richards always used to say. She always used to say, never boast of your immunity to sin. And another thing she said was, never test your immunity to sin, because if it happened to Solomon, the wisest man in the world, it could happen to you and I. If it happened to David, we just have to never let up in prayer, never let in the spirit of pride, and just keep marching on. But I'd like to remember all the good things that Pastor Swaggart done, and I disagree with him about, he thinks that if music is not Southern gospel, Jesus ain't listening. And I read that one of his commentaries. He said, God will never anoint modern Christian worship music. He said that God's not in that. And I'm like, oh man, so don't have a steel guitar and honky tonk piano. Jesus ain't listening. Well, Jimmy, I hope that you don't leave heaven if they're playing something besides Southern Gospel in heaven, because I'm not sure I could listen to it for eternity. I can barely make it through a couple songs. But anyway, I guess we'll know when we get there, won't we? But anyway, God bless Jimmy Swaggart and his family, and I hope they continue and do far greater things than he did. And I'm sure that he would wish the same thing. So let's pray for that family. And I hope to see y'all at Ignited Church this Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. See y'all.